My name is Bob Hamilton. I've just had the joy of spending days with Ann and Nancy Wilson and the family of Hart as they prepared for the release of their new album, Bad Animals. I found their story amazing and unique, and their new music wonderful and exciting. With the help of the people of Capitol Records, it is my privilege to bring the story of Hart and their new album to you for the very first time. Over 21 million albums and a decade of hit records. Hart, 1987. The Wilson sisters, Nancy.
Which one am I? Oh yeah, I'm the blonde.
And Ann.
No, it's Party in Ann's Room!
Bad Animals by Hart, coming to you in May. From Seattle, here is Hart, Ann and Nancy Wilson.
Right.
They think we're Canadians.
Our father was in the military, was in the Marine Corps. And so we traveled all over the world and stuff, to Taiwan, and they were in Panama and all kinds of stuff. So he retired here in Seattle, and so we grew up in Seattle from about 1960 to the time we moved to Canada, which was 72. Then we spent about 6-7 years in Canada and formed Hart up there. Hart made its name up there. And then we moved back down when they granted amnesty to the draft evaders, which is why we were up there.
And I came up to Canada after I'd done a couple years in college, was like 75, I think.
Yeah.
Because Anne had a standing invitation for me to join the group since I graduated from high school.
So it's true, really, that we are from both places. And if you live in Seattle, it isn't that different anyway.
Yeah, it's real close.
It's only like a 2.5-hour drive up there. There's a difference in nationality, of course, but yeah, there is just like a little line there.
Just a little dotted line, that's all.
It's all in Northwest to us, you know. I am. Ann is older by 4 years. He finally retired during the Vietnam War, 15.
And I was 11.
Yeah.
We lived in Taiwan when I was between the ages of 2 and 5 almost.
And also all over the States.
Yeah, North Carolina.
On all the military bases.
Yeah. Our mom was actually a concert pianist on a college level before she started having kids. But the whole time we were growing up, our mom would sit us at the piano and show us, just by looking, at the keys, what to play. And, she taught Lynn the Moonlight Sonata, and I learned Kitten on the keys, and we each had something we learned that we would memorize over a period of a year or so, just by sight. I remember many long hours laying underneath the piano, just listen to her practice and listen to her play. And she sang to us in the cradle, and we just always had music all around us all our lives. And our dad was a singer in a barbershop quartet, and they were both in choir when they actually met in college. So, yeah, we had an amazingly lucky growing up.
That's not to say that we didn't have our little snits, as any family does, but on the whole, we had a really brilliant childhood, I would say, because of our parents. When it came down to actually going out and leaving college to join a rock band, though that was a little bit hard for them to get around, but they did it, Out of that close-knitness came all of us singing together as a family, and old vaudeville songs and stuff like that back then. Family favorites.
We sang a lot of Everly Brothers stuff in
Yeah.
three-part harmony with Lynn. We called ourselves the Prunes back then. Lynn was in high school and we were in grade school.
Long before the Electric Prunes. In fact,
Yeah.
they ripped off our name,
Yeah.
Folk music.
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Limelighters, Kingston Trio.
Yeah, she got the first guitar, and because the grandma, got it for her because she had mononucleosis. And it was something to do while she was laid up in bed. I was really jealous because she had the first guitar, so I would always try to play it when she wasn't around and stuff. And we'd have fights over it, typical sibling stuff. Then I talked my parents into renting me one for a $30 guitar for $1 a month or something. For the rest of your life. Yeah. I really outgrew it really fast, so I finally persuaded him to buy me a real guitar. And then we both had 2 guitars.
We called ourselves The Mode.
The Mode.
And then that went on to become
The Viewpoints.
The Viewpoints, and then we were
that became
the Rapunzel for a while.
This person here, to my left, this sister of mine, our parents, even back in the ukulele days, we'd be with some relatives, and the parents would go, "Ann, Nancy, come on downstairs." Like, "Oh, Ann, would you do your Ethel Merman invitation for the folks? Now, come on." This little kid, would stand there and belt out these, ear-piercing Ethel Merman, the Hawaiian wedding song.
Yeah.
And it cracked everybody up at the time, but even then it was a real knack, it was a real natural thing.
Like when they'd say, "Okay, kids, come on down here, you got to do this thing," I'd go, "No!" But then once I got into it, it was really fun. We'd just live through the school day so we could get off and just like forget the books and go to work on music. The last time Nancy and I played together for about 4 years was in the Viewpoints, and then
and Rapunzel.
And then I split off and joined a bar band.
Panama, where our older sister Lynn, who you've met, I'm sure, she was born in Panama, and they lived there, I think, for about a year. Lynn.
Her name's Lynn. No, when she went away to college, that was the end of her real association in our groups. And then she got married, and so, it was always Nancy and I and our friends from school.
We started writing songs about the second year we were playing guitar. About 12, really, for me.
Mm-hmm.
They were really bad.
They were protest songs, really angry
really
protest
bad.
songs, "Leave me alone, Mr. Jones,"
You get me down.
Yeah, we didn't exactly
Through
know what we were
eyes.
protesting because we were there safe and
Yeah,
secure
we
and
were,
snug
like,
and
really
well-fed in
well-
our parents' house.
Really loving family and everything.
And
Food
living
on the
off 'em,
table, no problem.
But it was just hip to protest something.
It was hip,
so we
yeah.
did.
And then there was one called Through Eyes and Glass.
Yeah,
which
heavy-duty
was-
psychedelic
it was
imagery.
about
We'd
a
never
guy,
taken drugs before, but hey,
Yeah.
those
but we
images
had
were
that-
like
Right. We had our minds
through the
expanded
mirror
already.
of your mind.
And the big plastic hassle of it all.
Yeah. We collaborate with each other, Nancy and I, with Sue Ennis,
Or me and Holly, or the three
Holly.
of us, or the four of us, the girls.
with the guys in the band.
Mm-hmm. The guys in the band have a lot of musical input.
When Nancy and I were old enough to get guitars and play guitars together in the room that we used to share, those were the songs that we wanted to play. And we used to do like so many kids did, you go out and you buy the music book. And then,
You learn
because they
your
have the
first
chord
5
diagrams,
chords.
so you learn how to play guitar off of that. So we learned how to play Beatles songs and Paul Simon and Garfunkel songs first.
There's a funny story. When Ann became our manager, about the time we were in The Mode, I believe, A Beat Within,
Mm-hmm.
we had cards printed up and the whole bit, which for us was like a big business-like endeavor.
Well, it cost $6.
Yeah, come on. And so, we were going to play at a church youth group thing and pass the hat. So it was going to be our first money-making venture. We were going to do some Beatles songs, and so Ann wrote a letter to
Brian Epstein.
the
You see,
Beatles
because
manager.
at the bottom of all the lead sheets, how it says used by permission only. Well, I thought that meant you couldn't even sing the song in your own
Yeah.
bedroom unless the Beatles said
Unless
yes.
they said it was okay.
So I wrote to Brian Epstein asking if we could use Penny Lane and Yesterday and a couple of other ones. And I got this letter back from his secretary, Walter Hofer.
you
It was
still
really
have
nice.
that.
That said, "Okay, we understand that you're kind of naive, but go ahead and sing the songs. It's fine with us."
Do you still have that letter?
Yeah, I think I have it
Oh,
somewhere.
man, it should be framed. Ann and Sue became fast friends when Sue saw Ann's picture in the local Seattle paper because Ann had won a Beatles contest. Write a paragraph about why you love the Beatles. And Ann won this little movie camera in this contest, so Ann saw a picture of her. Sue saw a picture of Ann in the paper holding this movie camera and recognized her from school. She didn't write for Heart, actually, until right before Dog and Butterfly. One of our first favorite songs we wrote together was Mistral Wind with her. So, yeah, she was reluctant. She was working, she was a professional student for quite a while, and she's a real brainy girl. And she was in grad school at Berkeley when we finally talked her out of it, right before she got her doctorate. And she was about to have a nervous breakdown over this doctorate thing. And we convinced her that the doctorate's not going to run away, but we need you now, and don't kill yourself over this. Have fun first and think about it. So we've been having fun ever since. As a matter of fact, she co-wrote a song called Never on the last album with Ann and I, and another one called All Eyes. And on this album, Holly and I wrote a song that I sing called There's the Girl. We've known her since the last album. She kind of came on board as a songwriter, and we ended up really liking her as a person. I just got back from writing a song with Holly and Susanna from the Bangles for the next Bangles album. So yeah, it's kind of a pool of songwriters and inspirations and things.
Well, they're in the right place at the right time, to use an old phrase, and they're good. They have something special, something different, something special. No,
Isn't that
strike
special?
that, strike that. I mean, they have something different, something unusual about them. Even if you're just at the right place at the right time, you're not going to get discovered just because you're there. You have to have something.
Yeah, something a little more unusual to
And you have to be
offer.
willing to work like hell,
Yeah, beyond what you thought you were going to have to do.
And take a lot of stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily dream of taking.
There's so many pitfalls, There's so many classic syndromes of all these talented people that are either too have a problem mentally with like doing their art, quote, for money. People that are really excellent players, but they can't get their mind around doing it for other people.
Yeah,
They're doing it for themselves.
That's like me. I can never get my mind around working for money, It's just, I just
well,
can't
it
do
sounds
that.
weird to say it out loud, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of really great musicians that are kind of playing in their rooms,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
they're probably not meant to go out in the big world of sharks, the big pond of sharks. And there's a lot of other people that have every ability, that have everything going for them, and they get their first taste and they blow it. Like they think they're already there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They start trashing hotel rooms before they get the first paycheck.
Oh yeah, it's like a greased flagpole, It's like once you get up, for instance, in the top 10 or something on the charts, like the jumps stop happening 10, 20 a week, now it's like, you eke up 1 point, because
from number 14 to number
everybody's
12.
up there just like clawing for the top. It's really exciting, and it's kind of greedy in a way too.
It's
But
scary.
It's like a pack of dogs going, "Give me that bone,"
Yeah.
No, give it to me.
Even for a minute, Oh,
Heart.
sorry.
Well, it began as first it was the Army.
Before Anne was even in it.
Yeah, and when it became not that popular to call it the Army anymore in the late 60s, they went, okay, something else, quick, so they thought of Whiteheart from Tales of the Whiteheart, and then they thought, how about just Heart, because Whiteheart seems so white, so like kind of frilly,
So very white.
so they just called it Heart. So it was Heart, and so we went up to Canada, and the first gigs we played up there, we billed ourselves as being from San Francisco, which really impressed them, it was like, whoa,
How exotic.
yeah. But the
That's
truth kind of
right.
leaked out after a while. Only Seattle.
But see, they still think we're from Vancouver, which is perfect,
Yeah, they're from Paris.
Yeah,
Texas.
They're from England. Yeah, Paris, Texas.
They're from Moscow, Idaho. We were playing this place called The Dungeon in Calgary, and we'd gotten booked there kind of by someone in Calgary who hadn't really seen us, and they thought we were going to be one of these disco groups where
Play
all the guys wear
conform,
jumpsuits and the girls wear miniskirts or hot pants
Spandex
or whatever. And so we go in there, and it's like Led Zeppelin and all this.
It was a dinner club.
Yeah, they
Plus
called
we
it
were-
acid rock that we played, which it wasn't really. But
Yeah.
like every night when you went into work, there'd be nobody there yet, but there'd be this big old buffet dinner set out, and stainless steel
And we
things
got
they
to
always
have
use
our
for,
dinner
for
free
catering.
every
So we'd
night.
eat first, and then we'd go play. And this one particular night, whoever put the food into the stainless steel things hadn't properly washed out the pine sol first. You could taste pine sol in the food. We were so dissatisfied with this place anyway that we were grumbling mutiny within the band anyway.
Oh, yeah, because there was a list of rules in the backstage area in the dressing room that said, you can't chew gum on stage. You should wear carefully coordinated outfits, and you can't use swear words, and you don't play anything very loud, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we were really bummed out.
So that particular night, we'd eaten dinner and gone up there to play, and we were just joking around on stage, watching these people get their food and going, okay, they're tasting the pine sol. Now watch this guy, he's tasting
Watch
the
their
pine sol.
faces.
Oh, he tasted it, And so then, I said something like, hope you're enjoying the pine sol food tonight through the mic. The owner heard that. we got called in after work and fired. And then the next day we heard that we'd gotten this offer from Shelley, who was way out like doing advance work for us on the coast, that the group that was supposed to open up for Rod Stewart couldn't do it. And so Shelley had gone, well, I have a group who can, you know. So we got on the train and went across Canada and did it.
It was a beautiful trip, too.
From the Pine Sol room.
For Rod Stewart.
Yeah. So now it can come out after all these years. I
And
put the
some
Pine
chewing
Sol in
gum,
the
you know.
food. I put it in there. No, not really. God, we did a lot, though. We used to do, like, rock songs
we used to do
on acoustic guitars, and they sounded kind of wimpy by today's standards, but that's how Nancy got her fingers into the guitar at first.
And they never looked the same ever since.
Oh, come on, Raquel. Well, I played guitar with Hart all the way up until Nancy joined the band, and I still play occasionally. But I played up in Vancouver, like before Nancy joined, I would play guitar. But when she joined, there was no reason for me to keep playing because she's so much better. And I was begging her to join anyway to let me off of the guitar because I knew my limitations. I was stuck behind the guitar and I couldn't sing properly, so
It's hard to
it
do
worked
both.
out really, really well.
It's hard to sort of concentrate fully on both things at one time. And, you know, we really did become specialists each in our own way. I've formed some groups of my, like a duet actually, of my own acoustically. And I was playing around making money with acoustic rock. I was singing some originals and I was doing a lot of sort of country, kind of folk, and Beatles and Stones and Joni Mitchell
Stairway
and
to
Simon
Heaven.
and Garfunkel, yeah. And I went on to college and I did a set by myself and bought a new guitar with the money I'd made from that. And then I would end the set with Stairway to Heaven, acoustically, one person, you know. But it actually wasn't too bad. I still have tapes of it. It's not too bad.
Well, all those words.
It's bad,
you know.
but it's not too bad.
At the same time, in the bar bands I was in, we were doing Stairway to Heaven. We were doing a lot of the same songs, except electrified.
She kept begging me to come join, you know.
Mhm.
I did that first year of college, and I just said, get me out of here. I'm going to join Hart.
I never went to college. I went to art school for a year. What I wanted to do was men's fashion design because I was really disappointed in how men never got to wear cool clothes. It was always
Well,
just
God,
like...
look at the sandals they always have to
Oh,
wear.
So that was my thing in life, was to
I have
be
a
the
problem with
messiah
men's
of men's fashion design, but it didn't work out because I was too into music.
She still draws things for the guys to wear in the band. She still really keeps a hand in.
They don't wear them anymore, but no, I've always really thought of fashion as a person's, what they put on their body. It's almost as if their body is like a plain piece of paper and it's a painting and you just design a person, you know.
We've gone through every
I think
year
we look
we
pretty
go
mean
through,
right now, you know. I mean, like the guys look incredible.
We have a black thing right now.
Yeah.
Not that it's anything new, but we're just in a black phase.
Yeah.
In the black years.
All the bands that I'd gone through without Nance had had a various, you know, succession of names and stuff. A Boy and His Dog, Daybreak,
White Sail. Boy
and
His
finally,
Dog.
I met up with these guys, Roger Fisher and Steve Fossen, who had Hart already in Seattle. It was a really old name around here. And so they were looking for somebody, so I joined Hart, and
They
we
were
finally
good.
were playing constantly.
They were real
just
good.
like, not just on the weekends, but 6 nights a week, you know, like 4 or 5 sets a night. And the cabarets up there, which is a long night, you know.
Yeah,
Granted,
it would be like 4
It's no
hours.
Beatles in Hamburg, you know, like 8 hours a night, but it was 5 hours a night, which was pretty hardcore. And when you play that much, you really get a lot of experience real quick. Back then, at the start, I wasn't the lead singer at first. I was just the chick, you know, who sang Superstar. Long ago and so far away, you know, that one. And then eventually, they started going, hey, you know, you guys in the group are good, but God, that chick, you know, when she gets up there, she can really wail Daddy-O, you know, so. And then pretty soon we realized that it made a really interesting change if a woman sang a song that was designed for a man. For instance, I could sing Stairway to Heaven. That made it really different, you know, and people in clubs really liked it. So then pretty soon I was singing almost all the songs.
I was supposed to be the golden girl. I was the last one to leave the nest and all that. And they really wanted to see me get some college and all that, which I did, you know, a little bit. But when I announced that I was quitting college and I was going to join Heart, they tried like heck to talk me out of it. And they couldn't.
Soon after that, we had to go to Canada because Roger's brother Mike became my boyfriend. And we wanted to go away together, and he was a draft vader, so we had to go to Canada.
So she quit the band and went up, and they went, well, on second thought, I guess we'll... Well, I was coming to see them play every chance I had.
Coming back down was really hard for us sometimes because they were always looking for my boyfriend Mike because draft vaders cannot come back into the country without being arrested. Yeah, he was on the run. So we didn't come back to America for all that time, except
Christmas.
Very clandestinely, you know.
And there was one particular Christmas where we were all waiting for Ann to get home for Christmas. It was like Christmas Eve or something. And she got there like a state of shock because they'd searched everyone and they were looking for Mike
strip
Fisher.
Search thing. Hell, when you're in love.
There's no choice.
I'm an American. I love my country, but I was so much in love that the story ended well. It was something that we'd hoped for years because we were all homesick, beyond homesick. You know, we were heart-sick, heart-sore to come back down here, no pun, to be with our families and our parents. And also, beyond that, Heart was beginning to suffer because we couldn't play in the States. It was starting to look like we were going to be a Canadian phenomenon, you know.
And Mike was our sound man, and we didn't want to go anywhere without him at that point.
And he was my main squeeze, and I didn't want to go anywhere without him. They started talking about amnesty, you know, when this whole Nixon thing was Nixon was going to resign and all this. And like one thing after another, all of a sudden, the domino theory. All these things happened that were just wonderful. And finally, amnesty. We all just, we got the stuff in the truck. We drove down to the border. We went, hey,
we're home.
See you later. And just came back through, you know. It was almost like, it was really, really a wonderful time.
It sure was.
And we drove back down here and stopped at the first place we could and bought some American beer. You know, and just had it and just...
Even now, we have 2 homes. That's still one of our homes.
Yeah, I think we confused a lot of Canadian people when we left because it made it seem like we'd just taken advantage of their country. That's not what it was. We were just glad to get home. Michael and I went around to every company we possibly could, like all the big ones, all the little ones. We tried, like, every little tip we got, you know, it's like they all turned us down flat because our demo was pretty lousy. We had done it, but, like, I was really nervous and my voice was like Buffy St. Marie, you know, and like we were... Finally, the only company that would even consider us was Mushroom Records in Vancouver. They were real hungry, and Shelley Siegel was a brilliant guy. We just made the album, and through his brilliance and everybody's...
hard work.
Knockdown hard work. We just forced it to happen, you know. So they took it and came down here, and at first it was like, oh, give us a break, you know. This doesn't sound like anything, you know, that we've heard before, and we thought that was its strong point. Shelley and Nancy and I got in rent-a-cars in these American cities and just went and just pounded them and said,
especially the East Coast.
Here's our album, you know, like in Coal Miner's Daughter, you know, when she and her husband have to drive around, you know, and just in the car with the list of all the stations. And once the jocks agreed to put it on the air and the people heard it, the people loved it. And answer questions and have them go, hey, you 2 gals are little candy bars, aren't you? We go, yeah, we are. Here, play this. Magic Man and Crazy on You. Like, once it was starting to get big, everybody was saying, oh, of course, we always did like that. You know, it's like all these guys who at first were going, those damn sisters from hell, you know, like we...
Right away, we got publicity for the album cover, as you recall. It's sort of like a senior picture. I thought of it, you know, with the off-the-shoulder and cozy-looking picture. So immediately they picked up on the album cover and made sort of an insinuation about it in a lot of press, about, you know, an incestuous kind of insinuation about it. And we just flew into a rage about it. We weren't ready for that, you know, at all.
Yeah, we were still too naive just to shine that kind of thing on.
And we both had boyfriends in the band, too. So, I mean, it was like, isn't it obvious, you know?
Beyond all this, you know, industry stuff we're talking about, the people were always the ones that were just the best. They were just right in there for us.
As soon as they got a chance to hear us.
Sweet and great. And if they go, yeah, this is great, then it happens no matter what anybody else says.
We
Yeah.
got to set foot on the big stages, and that was the biggest thrill of all. And there I was in this new loud rock band rock situation,
Yeah.
having just like stepped off of the Keg
at
and
the
Q
Montreal Forum.
stage.
Okay.
And there I was on a huge stage with this thundering loud music. And I was ready, but I wasn't ready. I mean, I wanted it, but it's like, God, you know, it was like immense to me. It was like the black monolith, you know?
The first year or so, we took a bus, like a lot of people do, but then it just got too hard on us because we were playing so much, like 6 nights a week and everything. You can never sleep on a bus,
Yeah.
you know, too well with the gears
You start
grinding.
having
and
bus plunge
yeah, bus
nightmares.
plunge dreams and stuff. So we thought, okay, well, we'll fly. So we, of course, then we just flew commercial, you know.
Which was even worse.
Which is even worse because you're like running through like O'Hare Airport and you're just about to miss your connection. You've got all your bags. It's really hot. And like somebody's late, you know. And so that was impossible.
And then the
So
flight
we-
gets canceled.
Yes,
And then you miss the show.
You missed the concert.
You know,
so
and
we ended
stuff
up
like that.
leasing a plane,
Which we still do.
do to this day. That's pretty much it. Those years were pretty much spent in just really traveling a lot, doing hundreds of concerts. I can't smile at you and say, well, we're the same girls that came from Seattle, you know, who used to play ukuleles in their bedroom. But we are basically that, you know.
Yeah, we kind of
We're probably more like that again now than
That's true.
we have been in years between
Yeah,
then and now.
That's true.
Once you make an album that really splashes, you know, then, of course, you wake up in the morning after the big champagne party when you go #1, you go, oh, my
Oh,
head.
no.
Oh, no, now we have to follow that. I'll tell you what, though. Like, I don't lie awake at night
No.
worrying about that because we always tend to do things the way we feel them. Like the last album that was so successful for us, we didn't go in there and go, oh, we'll do whatever we have to do to make a hit. God, you know, we'll just sell ourselves to the devil to do that. We've never been able to do that. We're not that good at
Yeah.
liars.
Didn't
So
really,
last
not
time
us.
and this time, we just basically said, let's just make the best album we can make, you know.
Yeah. And we took
And with
more
the help of
advice.
Ron Nevison,
Yeah.
who's totally in sync with that idea with us, you know. Hopefully this one will be just as big, because it already is just as satisfying to us or more. More.
I like this
you
one
know.
better than the last one.
Yeah,
too.
me too. It's pretty solid, and it always has been. It was rooted deep in our childhood
Yeah.
as a friendship more than a big sibling rivalry thing.
Plus, we're
And-
so different, and we both do such different things well, you know. So there's never that much of a big competitive vibe.
Yeah, I think the only
You
thing
know,
that's
too much.
that's been hard to get right. You love the other person so much that it's hard to let them alone to do their own things. You know, you always want to go, well, come on, I want to do it too. Or, well, I wouldn't do that. And you have to just let them alone. They're a grown-up woman now, you know. And I love her so much that, like, I want to just be inseparable the whole time, like two best girlfriends in junior high, where now she's grown, has a husband, and all this kind of stuff. And so that's been the hardest thing to encompass because we're just two pieces of the same cloth, you know.
Yeah.
But if that's our biggest problem, we're damn lucky.
Yeah, well, I'm coming out front a lot more lately, and that's how I need to have it, you know, be. With These Dreams, it was my first single. I don't know, I just feel confident now and ready now to step forward and do a lot more singing and lead guitar playing and just being out front more. And like how many people now can know which one's Nancy and which one's Ann, you know, it's a lot different now.
I've always been one of the biggest Nancy Wilson fans there is in terms of her playing and especially her singing.
It's all your fault that I'm doing this now.
And,
you encouraged me.
If people knew how much secret fire there is in there, you know, they'd be really amazed. And they wouldn't always be just pointing the finger at me saying, okay, she's the center of attention. So I'm really glad that this last year has unfolded the way it has for her. And it's just the beginning with her. It's just like, here comes the iceberg, look out, you know.
Good question.
Yeah, I think it's
It's a guitarsy sound.
yeah, guitarsy sound, real melodic
Real melodic.
sound with a real crunchy rock, you know,
Mhm. It
but
sounds like a
melodic at the same
band.
time.
But it's also got some more modern flavorings with keyboards now. It never really goes too far from the basic rock thing. Like after a while, you can put too many parts on. You have to know. Like a lot of times on previous albums, we've ended up putting too many layers on, and I come away with it liking the demos better than the album.
Yeah.
Because you hear the rawness and you hear the performances at the same time instead of a bank of strings and a bank of background singers, you know. But I think we did pretty well in this one. We really ended up taking a lot of things off for that reason.
Yeah, you might say that.
Yeah, you could say it was a do or die
It was
situation.
like I was so worried about things because we have done this band from childhood until now. This has been the thing we've done, you know. And when it looked to me like it was all kind of disintegrating underneath our feet, I was real worried. It was almost like a marriage that was starting to break up, you know. I felt the
Yeah.
same way about it.
And we had all the wrong things going for us at the wrong time at that point. We looked at each other, me and Ann, and we made some really hard decisions and really made a lot of big changes. And consequently, we did the right thing.
Well, actually, the Private Audition album was the one that all of a sudden where the rug came out for some reason. It didn't happen. And it just like, it was a bomb. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll say it. So we were trying to recover from all that, and we had this dogged kind of, okay, we've got to pull ourselves up, you guys, come on.
Whatever
So-
it takes.
And then we went on tour, and we backed up John Cougar. No, I mean, John Cougar backed us up. Excuse me, that was a Freudian slip, because we were headlining, but he had the #1 album,
Yeah,
and
during that
he was
same
backing us
tour,
up.
our album was not doing that well, and his went to #1, and he was backing us up.
And loving every minute of it, too. So that was a real hard time for us. We felt kind of off balance, and that's when we had to go out there on stage and just pull it out of that
Yeah,
bag
that's
every
when
night.
we had to
you
win
know.
over those audiences every night. And the
And
last
every
two albums
morning in the
hadn't carried
plane,
it.
you know, we'd read the reviews in the paper from the show the night before, and it'd go, well, John Cougar kind of cleaned up last night, you know. And jeez, it was terrible. It's like giving me goosebumps even to think about it now, you know.
We finally had some people that were right behind us and were believing in us, and it was like doors were just opened for us all of a sudden.
Yeah, we felt so good about everything that I think our
we
clothes
wanted to
reflected
ham
that.
it up. We wanted to ham it
know.
up big. It was fun. It was
We
really
just
a
felt so
chance
good. We just
to-
went out there and just were peacocks.
Yeah,
you know.
because we were back, you know.
Yeah.
And we felt real righteous about it.
On Passion Works, we used Keith Olsen. Even though Keith did produce Almost Paradise, he wasn't right for Heart. We heard about Ron, who had like a little hole in his schedule, you know, and he was looking for something like us, like real rock, you know, something that he could take a hold of and just make happen and just like trim all the fat off, you know, just make it be this real super powerful, essential rock thing. And we liked his credentials because he had like engineered Led Zeppelin and Bad Company and a few other things like that. Met with him and stuff, and he was really on his best behavior. He was a real sweet guy when we met, and then like later on when we worked together, his true colors came out, and he's like a taskmaster, you know, but a good one that we learned to work with without any problem. Like once things started changing for us, it did happen like a big wild acceleration, second only to the first one. Like, hey, wait a minute, they like it, they really like it, they really like it, they love it, they crave it, you know. It was like, it was like your
It was
skin
so
starts
cool.
to fly back, you
Yeah.
know. And also it was 10 times more sweet. We'd never had a #1 record before,
Yeah.
all these years. And first
Or
the
a
album went
#1 single.
#1, and then These Dreams went #1.
And it went #1 at Christmas time.
At Christmas
and-
time!
and it was
And we
great.
all got new puppies.
Right.
And then we all went to the seashore.
The day that we heard that the album had outsold Dreamboat Annie was a good day, too. And the next one's even better.
At the time that Nancy joined, we also found Howard Leese. We really liked him. We really hit it off with him at this party one night. We were looking for someone to play keyboards for us.
Who could sing, play
Yeah.
guitar, and play keyboards.
So we asked him, and he said, yeah, and he's still with us. I mean, he's been there since day one, you know. He's really great. He's really opened up his
He made it
talents
through
a lot.
the rain.
He made it through the
He
rain.
made it
Oh,
through.
God. Great guitar player, and getting better all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think he plays his butt off on this album.
Me too.
As well as his keyboard,
Prowess.
prowess.
If we can use
and
another bio
his
word.
knowledge of all the tech, all the new tech and stuff is always just
He's right up to
mushrooming,
date
you know.
with, you know, the Fairlights and all the new stuff. He studies it.
Yeah, and also he's a real funny guy too. He has he's
A real unusual person.
Let's
in
see
a
if we can
good
think
way.
something bad about him. No, let's see.
I don't know about the milk and the cookie stuff, though.
Denny Carmassi and Mark Andes. Mark lives in L.A.
And he knows everyone in LA.
Yeah, knows everybody there, and also
The rest
he's
of the world.
had a real long history in rock. You probably already know I was in Spirit and Firefall and JoJo Gunn, a whole bunch of groups, you know, and is really a great bass player.
He's real solid. And
Yeah, real
he and
solid.
Denny work like a machine together.
Yeah.
Which is what you got to have
Yeah.
for a bass player and drummer.
Yeah, Mark's a real sweetheart too. He's
Yeah.
he's
one of
real-
the nicest people.
Yeah.
you'll ever meet. As a matter of fact, I didn't trust him at all when I first met him. I thought he was too nice.
Yeah.
You know,
What's
I thought
wrong
he
with
was
this
a
picture,
Mooney
you know?
or something. You know, it's like, well, when's he going to whip out the religious book, you know?
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get used to it,
Yeah.
but it's really true. He really is that nice.
Yeah. And Denny lives in San Francisco, out in Marin County, and is almost the opposite. I mean, he's still a nice guy, but he's like physically almost the opposite. He's like this real
Shorter,
muscular,
Italian.
compact, hot-headed little Italian guy, you know, with
A
like
real family guy.
yeah,
you know?
great big heart, just hot-blooded as
He has
hell.
a few friends, but they're all real good.
Yeah.
You know?
Any
He's a guy
style.
that, like, you hear other players and other drummers in the biz. You hear other people speak his name with a reverence. You know, like,
Yeah.
Denny Carmasi. And he cares about the song before he cares about showing off what he can do.
Yeah.
He's trying to do what's best for the song
Oh, I don't
first.
know though. Like sometimes on stage, I can turn around just in time to see him throw a stick up in the air. Or
Well,
something.
that's different. That's where you want to
Gotcha,
show
Denny,
off.
gotcha. Actually, these
And he's
guys
one of 'em.
are no longer new. I mean, they've been in the
Yeah,
band for
about
5 years
now. It's hard to leave here, but at the same time, this album feels so good and it feels so right, and I'm so much happier with it than even the last album, which was made a great tour for us. You know, as much as I'm notorious for being the whiner about having to go on the road all the time, I'm dying to do it. I really am. I'm dying to go out there and play songs like Wait for an Answer and sing more than one song. You know, I'll have like 3 or 4 songs to sing now. Yeah, we're getting our set designs finalized and choosing our lighting and sound company people, and our crew's intact. We have the same loyal crew that we've had forever.
Yeah, the lights are going to be really incredible this year.
Yeah. It starts
Worcester,
in Worcester, Massachusetts.
On June 29th.
Arabians and Morgans. Well, Ann and I have always been horse buffs, you know, since we were really young. So, you know, we always swore up and down that as soon as we could afford to, we'd get some horses, and then we did. And she lives more in town, so we keep them both here. We keep both of our horses here. We own most of them half and half, you know. It's just a great getaway. It's like the girlhood fantasy come true. And the dogs and all the child substitutes in the world.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm looking at doing that right after this tour is over, at the risk of not being cool for a year or so. See, when you have kids these days, if you're in rock and roll, you risk not being cool. You
God,
know?
that's like... that's like
Well,
an
I think
old,
I could risk
That's like an
that.
old blues song. Stuck on tour with a gooseneck mic.
Yeah, right. A convex ovation. Or concave ovation.
Yeah. Yeah, the clothes are almost the most fun part of doing videos.
Yeah, that's true.
And then seeing them when they're finished, you know, because it is a hell of a lot of work. And of course, anyone who's ever made a movie is just laughing their head off at what I just said, because
Yeah.
making a video only takes a few days.
Yeah, but when you're making a
But-
video, you have like 1 or 2 days to do it, and you've got to work from, you know, 8 in the morning to 8 the next morning half the time.
But yeah, fashion. The clothes for our new video are just outrageous. They're incredible.
They're all black, too. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we helped design it.
It's called Alone.
There's a really old theater in L.A. that's kind of romantic with stained glass and a lot of really interesting shapes and things in it. Having like the song opening with me on an empty stage with a black Steinway, shiny black piano, black clothes, dark set.
White skin.
White
Yeah.
skin, light hair. Which one am I? Oh yeah, I'm the blonde. And just like starting out just with the keyboard, and then you like pan way up to this balcony that's like a shell-shaped balcony that goes out into the air, you know, of the theater, way up there. And Ann starts singing, and so you could see, like from behind Ann, you'd see me way down on the stage playing the piano, or vice versa. You know, I'd see her way up there on the balcony, and then we'd kick into the chorus, which is a real heavy rock chorus. And you could have the glass breaking and things just break, and there's the band performing. She's graciously asked me to help, and I've got all kinds of ideas. I want to co-produce some songs, and I want to help write, and I want to play on it and sing on it, and basically be involved in it all the way down the line. Same when I do my project, which I'm actually started already, which is not really a solo album because...
We'll just hear more about the solo album in a minute. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. No, go Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just like
Because then about me. Let me tell you more about me. I could just go on for hours about myself.
No, you said all there is to say, really. I'm just looking around. It'll be the next thing that you hear from me will be the solo album. It's not going to be what you'd expect, like, okay, here she comes by herself and it's all ballads. It's the soft, sensitive torch song side of her. If anything, I think it'll go further rock. A solo album is your chance to really stretch out, you know, and if you're going to do anything like totally weird, that's the place to do it, you know. No, actually, it'll be really good for me, you know, to get that self-confidence to go out and do it by myself.
I'm probably
for
just
an
as
album.
excited about it as you are.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I can see chances for me to expand a little within the framework of your solo album.
Yeah, really. So Nancy's got this film project, you know, that she's going to do. She wrote this story a little while back called Dream Friends. This really charming story, you know, about a little girl and her fantasy horse. It's meant to be an animated film in the Disney sense, and people are going to contribute songs and voices, and it's looking real good, like it's going to happen now for sure.
And that would be a soundtrack album where I could sing some and Ann would sing and do some scoring music as segue between the songs from the movie. But it would be, well, my life dream would be to do something like this.
No, it's party in Anne's room. It's more like after you work out or something, you feel that's the best you feel all day. You know, when you come off, you feel like you've done something. Okay, you've done your set. It really worked out well. You've got the endorphins flowing. You know, you can take off your makeup and go back to the hotel and just kick back. You know, it must be like primal therapy or something. Was, you know, where you just. Really? Like you just scream your guts out and then you feel purged, you know. It seems like there would be more who were like that, like a Janice, you know, like your Janice or your Ann Wilson or something, because it's so satisfying and because a woman can do that anytime she wants. But
well, I don't think
it almost
that's
seems
true.
like, well, I mean, she's allowed to is what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything like any specific anger. I just think I must kind of feel the sharp drive, power, anger, whatever you want to call it, that's in rock, you know.
It's a real primal feeling.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of anger. Not in a...
Yeah, that's true.
Not a bad kind of anger, but just a...
Rage.
Yeah. A healthy rage, I guess you'd call it.
Good, healthy rage going.
That's a good kind of anger.
She has her rage built up today. Look out.
We're both really happy being in a band. It's a band thing. It's a unit. You feel like you're on your team, you know. But not only that, I mean, it's just, it's more, we're really a rock and roll people. And being in a rock band, not just being a front thing with a bunch of players back there, but being in an actual band that's played together for some years and knows each other as players and gets tight, you know. Bad Animals is a prime example of that. We had a joke on the tour about the sore thumb lobby. You know, when you walk into the lobby in the morning, a lot of people turn their heads and give you these glares, you know, especially down in some of the more snooty, ritzy hotels. And they see people like us walk in there, and it's like, oh my God, here comes trouble, you know.
When you first get there in the morning and you're just all scruffy and stuff from traveling, if there's a whole bunch of you, it's much easier than if it's, okay, here comes Miss Garland, and she looks terrible, you know. If it's like 5 people that look terrible, it's supposed to be that way. Especially the whole band, because the guys all have these big old spiky dudes, and everyone's got their shades on, everyone's burned, everyone wants a nap before the show,
everyone's
you know.
going to bed, you know. And
so we call it the sore thumb lobby.
Yes, because you walk in there like 5 sore thumbs. Yeah. But it's really how it feels. I mean, that's another thing about being in a real band, you know.
So Bad Animals was just another name for that.
Yeah, because, you know, bad means good. We did all our own guitars.
Yeah, Holly played on one thing.
Oh, and there's the girl.
Holly Knight.
Keyboards. Yeah, she's a virtuoso, I'll tell you.
She's a great player
really
and
amazing
a great
player.
person. Those technical things are the same, but there's nothing else about it that's the same. It's got more weight to it, like all the songs have more weight to them than anything on the last record that I can think of.
We really paid attention to that this time. We really made a conscious effort to take what we did in the last time and better one. You know, as far as the level of the melodies and the lyrics and everything. You know, not to repeat ourselves mainly.
Yeah.
We didn't want to do another album like the last album. I mean, hopefully better.
God, for years people have been saying, come on, write Barracuda again, you know.
Why can't you just do another Crazy on You, you know?
God, that's just like Barracuda. Well, you told me to. Well, you shouldn't listen to me, you fool. You know, I mean, Jesus. And singing, all the singing except for this guy Tom Kelly.
Who writes with Billy Steinberg?
Came and
teen.
sang backups with Nancy and I, and that's all we had
Yeah.
on singing. Nancy and me and Tom.
They wrote Alone, and they wrote Want You So Bad, which is another great song on there.
And like they also wrote Like a Virgin
Mm-hmm.
and True Colors, and they're really great,
Yeah.
great songwriters. And he has an amazing voice.
There's something that he sings on Alone, the song Alone, that high part. How can I get you alone? That's Tom Kelly on the top part. Full voice. And I'm going to have to do it live. Ah!
Who will you run to? Well,
Um,
on Who Will You Run To, Nancy was in the studio every day with Ron.
That
see
song-
where this is going to go.
Yeah. That song we got in demo form, but we liked the hook of the song. It's a nice kind of Beatlesque kind of guitar riff, you know. We went back and we heavied it up, and we did change a lot of the feel on the song. You know, we changed it from a harmony song to just Ann singing it, and changed key, and, you know, we changed a lot of things about songs, even outside songs, to make them our own. But I think this one turned out great. I like the guitar riff, mainly.
Yeah.
I was going to say about the song Alone. You know, we heard the demo of it, and we thought it was a pretty cool song, but at first, our first impression was a little bit schmaltzy, you know, a little bit, the demo version we heard. So then, you know, we went ahead and we tried it. We knew it was a good, strong song, but we were afraid it was, you know, maybe a little too sweet. Then, when Ann sang it,
And when the band rocked it up.
and when the band
Yeah.
put those heavy guitar parts on, and then finally Ann's voice, the song came to life. It was like black and white to color. It was amazing to see what Ann can do, you know, to a song, to make it alive. There's the Girl. That's a song that I sing, and that's a song that Holly Knight and I wrote together. I wanted to do something that was more up-tempo, because most people associate me with just the ballads and just the slow songs. So we did. She had the chorus for the song already, and I wrote all the verses and the melodies for the verses. It's not about relationships, it's about you're a friend of a guy. You're a guy's friend, not his girlfriend, but his friend. And you see him make the mistake of falling for the girl that hurt him again. And you're going, look, bud, I know you too well to not try to warn you not to do this to yourself again. Don't let her break your heart again. No, it says, there's the girl that you were after. Feel your heart beating faster. There's the girl you were after. Broken glass, complete disaster. There's the girl that you were after. Every time you can't get past her, there's the girl that you were after. Can you say that you don't want her anymore? Want You So Bad. Another Kelly Steinberg
Yeah, Kelly Steinberg
masterpiece.
song. I love that one. It's really different in that it hasn't got like a chorus and a verse. It's like one thing that goes over and over again in a loop.
It's very moody.
Real romantic,
really romantic. All the girls we know just go when we play this song
Yeah.
loud in the studio. You know, people stand up and sigh.
And that was really fun for me to sing because I usually don't get a chance to really hold back. Like usually everybody says, "Come on, let it fly, Annie," you know. So
Turn it up to 11.
it's almost harder and more satisfying for me to have to really keep myself in check.
That's one of the great
know.
things that Ron Nevison had on you, Anne,
Yeah,
as a producer, because
yeah, I know.
he really said, save it up, and pull out the stops when it's going to really mean the most. And, you know, when you're Ann Wilson, you know, it's probably hard to save it up because it's all ready to spill.
Wait for an answer. That's a Lisa Del Bello song. Probably the most physically challenging song I've ever sung.
That's the one I couldn't do in
Yeah,
rehearsals when I was
because
trying to fill in for Ann.
It's in like five ascending keys, so you start one place and then you end up way up in the treetops. Also,
On a limb.
it goes up in terms of intensity. You know, it builds in intensity.
It's
so
a
you're-
big crescendo.
Yeah,
the whole
you're just
song.
like you're all pulled together down here, and then when you get to the top, you're just like screaming. You know, it's really fun to sing. Real satisfying song. Tough, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of how high it gets at the end, but I think it'll sound really good live in a great big hall.
I can't wait.
Bad Animals,
Bad Animals. We've actually told that story a few times.
which is totally autobiographical of the band,
Yeah.
and just tells about how we're the Jets and the Sharks when we walk
Yeah.
into the hotel lobby.
And I sing the bridges on that song. The part out here on the front line, our territory is nighttime. We walk the jungle line. We stay alive.
See, we call it the shovel song. What's it really called? Oh, You Ain't So Tough. That's a real kind of upbeat song that's very forthright, kind of positive song that I think people will like really a lot. The next song is...
That one, see, that's a really good commercial sounding song.
Yeah.
And we'll see, it's got a really positive vibe to it. It's
Yeah.
real positive.
real major and real,
And a
come on,
great-
you can do it, you know,
Yeah.
type song.
But we had a joke about it. We called it the shovel song because the demo, once again, when we heard the demo, it was like a little drum machine, and it
It was like a workout
da
song.
da
You know.
da 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 da. It sounded real square. You know, we
Yeah.
had to once again inject the breath of rock into it.
Yeah.
All the in-group studio stuff sticks with us. Well,
Oh,
it's like marching
like-
or digging trenches,
it's
or
like
you know, or like and left,
Yeah.
and right,
Yeah, right.
and left, you know,
Yeah.
and point and flex, you know,
Only
that kind of
6,000
thing.
more, come on!
Yeah.
Oh, and
So
then
that's the in-group
yeah.
story, anyway.
Strangers of the Heart, which Nancy sings. It's really a beautiful, sensitive, kind of introspective ballad. It's a big production number for her, too, usually.
Yeah, I've never
if-
sang a song quite like it
Yeah.
before. It was written by
Mark-
Dwayne Hitchings and
Mark
Sue
Andes.
Schifrin and Mark Andes,
Mhm.
our bass player. We heard the demo for that. Even before there were lyrics to it, I fell in love with the melody. Just the music of the song, I was sold on it already. And Ron asked me if I'd sing it, and I went, I don't know if I can sing a song like that. I've never sung a song like that, because it's got a lot of big, long, strong notes that are held out really long, you know. And I went, well, I'll try. And I fell right into it. It was real fun to do.
Sounds good.
Fell right into it. Easy target, yeah.
That's a song that Nancy and Sue Ennis and I wrote. It's pretty self-explanatory, you know.
It's sort of a groove song. It's, yeah,
Mhm.
like a tricky Zeppelin sort of a dance feel, you know. Like we always wanted to do a song where you don't know where the beat is until the whole thing starts in.
Mm-hmm.
So it tricks you at the beginning. It sounds like, well, wait a minute, where's the snare drum? You know, how am I supposed to dance to this? And then it all kicks in and you know where you are. And then RSVP. The three of us also wrote that song.
Mm-hmm.
That was really the first song we wrote for this album. That's really one of those real heart songs. I had the music for it and pretty much started. And I came down to the beach where Anne's got a beach house, and we write songs there. So Sue found this thing in a magazine that said RSVP. It was like, you are cordially invited to attend a very special evening, an intimate thing, you know. And we went, that's a cool idea. Like, what if it was a relationship and you want somebody to come back to you and you're telling them RSVP, let me know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that one because of, well, lots of reasons, but because of Nancy's guitar, the acoustic guitar. It's almost like it reminds me of the little girl with the big guitar, you know, back when we were kids, the big wide open strumming and stuff. And it's a pure heart song.
It's not trying to be a single, and it's not trying to
No.
do anything but do what we feel.
Yeah.
You know?